The last piece we witnessed together with XANDRIA was I would classify ballad anthem in a way. The Undiscovered Land, a 7-minute piece on a much softer veneer, compared to other pieces concluded off of Sacrificium that we've witnessed so far in a full album survey. As I told you in the last video, that's been the development now of what I've decided to do in the midst of our journey together. But going on Betrayer, I wonder if there will be a direct tonal shift back to a reversion of the original mood of what XANDRIA has proficiently established with a symphonic metal voice that's quite familiarized to me in understanding, though this era we're exploring together. I told you we're in the midst of I've said this many times and probably past incidents have proven this at this point, we are taking an extensive survey of history with XANDRIA through different eras, from the Manuela Acralera era onto the Ambra Vuverhis, of which in reverse order, that's how I was introduced, but now entering in the middle space with the two albums, well, 2 plus the EP, considered with Sacrificium being an initiator to not only the XANDRIA, what I would say a golden era of their tenure, but our journey with Diana von Giersbergen. One of my favorite vocalists from their group, and in the operatic metal caliber. And there's many to recognize. I have certainly of a European metal basis. There are so many standouts. And in XANDRIA's credits, I've said before, I like every era of them. Though, of course, I understand from the fan community of other XANDRIA aficionados, ones that I know advance me. I know some of you are approaching from that angle. But hopefully there's a versatility in terms of approach angles, that some of you are fresh initiate witnesses to their work via Sacrificium. I would recommend, because we're doing a survey of their work, and we have looked at the first 5 pieces together in that type of format. Whether you choose to enjoy those independently or mutually, I'll leave that up to you, but humor those first 5 pieces. They're all a great note of introduction and create the presentation of a solid album all the way through. And I'm operating on suspicion that our developments will take us down that type of journey. That's been the story of each artist and each song that's graced this channel, and XANDRIA is no different in this era at all. Certainly with Diana von Giersbergen, I knew that would be with my earlier exposure to Nightfall and many repeat listens now, and every piece I've humored a few since. In the midst of our development to the Diana von Giersbergen deep dive we will be taking, not only with XANDRIA, but Ex Libris, her solo project Diana, adjacent credits. I've got her all listed on Phase 2. And it's quite a welcome window to take with all of you. Best way to enjoy music. Let's continue on the ride and examine Sacrificium in new developments and see if there is a change on voice. I don't know. Again, for anybody approaching a fresh status, by the way, of interaction, German-based symphonic metal, my favorite extreme in stylization of in the metal world. Though again, I am open to any particular taste of subgenre, and even outside of that, there's artists I've humored that don't necessarily fit the metal commonality, but again, a welcome opportunity for anybody in terms of highlighting music at a deeper level, especially appreciating such good art. And XANDRIA, capable masters of in the symphonic metal extreme, especially with this lineup. I really like the score interventions. Paired with such a brilliant vocal medley, again, of a highly capable Dutch-based vocalist. She is a Spinto soprano singer. I believe as well, I've read that she's a vocal coach. She certainly has every right to be. But people would be honored. Well, they probably are. What am I saying were? They should evidently feel quite honored to be in the graces of somebody that is so capable as a singer. I truly appreciate Diana's work. And in part, her involvement is helping me grow a deeper appreciation and experience for many other operatic vocalists. I never thought in an earlier time in my life I'd ever be saying that, but yet metal has compelled that. European metal has such personality. It really does. I am such an opera fan now. It's a weird spot to be in when I think of comparisons to how I was years ago, but metal's brought that out in me. It's so cool to see that type of design work in such beautiful songs. I'm sure Betrayer will follow suit to our journey so far in present focus of XANDRIA. Let's humor it together, perhaps on a first approach or again a review perspective for you. First interaction for me. Let's take it together. Chronicle that opportunity in our journey of XANDRIA at a deeper level. Reversion back to the established tone. Let's see how we evolve from here. Strong grounding. Drearier mood. Key synth string involvement. Great choir presence here in the opening riff structure. This is very inviting for someone of my particular tastes in metal force. I love aggressive voices. Is she calling herself the Queen of Magic Arts? Maybe at one time her voice would have been considered that way. Certainly in mythology it might have that effect, an immersion. I love the key tracking molded with her voice. The integration is quite fresh and expected on competence here. Rougher breaks perfectly intermixed. First footing for you. Are you welcomed by her yet? I've fallen in love with these experiences. Unapologetically practiced. I love it. Okay, so based on lyrics, are we getting another narration here? Let's see. Just seeing where we're going. Still, the score captures a really good feel.
I only want to go where the wind leads me, and just pick the sweet fruits wherever I go. So soon now, as I'm going to spread my wings.
But it was us who gathered the feathers for you. It was our promise and you gave yours. Remember, your deeds make you what you are, not your intentions.
Independent story, by the way. This is some of my favorite choir work and background vocal work yet so far on Sacrificium, and there's been a lot to speak of in credit. But this is definitely an enhanced voice and evolution. The riff pairing really does. It intermixes in such an interesting way, especially with story tone. What cool tail sensations on the end of those lines. Let's see if it continues. Lighter, strict. This one definitely feels like it's playing more into a concept extreme, but it's nice. Unique script on... Wow. That has been revealed on this album for an electric guitar emphasized bend, but... It's a really adventurous score to this one. I'm sure all of you would agree. I don't want to speak for you. Wow. And you see definition in symphonic metal. This single-handedly demonstrates that type of attitude and aptitude and adventurism. Wow. Oh, I love it. The growth on her vocals, it's just perfect. Intermeshed though with the choir and the layers. Maybe there was a closure. Wow. Good Good closure effect. I like that. That piece has a great map to it. And again, like I said, it does play more so into the lyrical concept, I think, which, if you're speaking of, I would say, again, you speak of the roles on, okay, if you're looking at the lyric sheet, you can see this. At least that's how it's specified to me by the source I attributed. Lyrics are written as, with the narration, princess or knights, again, based on the story. And it definitely plays, at least in familiarity to me, on concept and imagery of, I would say, a medieval footing. XANDRIA does carry with it a fantasy ambiance, and that does come up in terms of the scoring cue. 100%. It is an arrival of an image I immediately conjure in my mind on effect. I think that is evidenced earlier on, too, like a circle of knights, the queen of magic arts. Again, are we playing in, like, a siren motif? I mean, I'm not the greatest expert on mythological history, other than like maybe some excerpts on Greek. You know, every kid learns that, certainly in America, from an educational perspective. Not as much medieval, maybe a light scope of, yeah, you know, I used to read a lot more books as a kid than admittedly I do now. And there were a lot of children's stories that may have had that employ, certainly on the fantasy interweaving. From maybe a science, or at least a one of, what was that one book series, like the Magic Tree House? Yeah, I read those books when I was a kid. I think it was Magic Tree House. Whatever it was, I'll credit it down below. That was, again, many moons ago. And that was a particular facet of, I believe, medieval history. I also did some school projects along those lines for one particular class I took. Anyway, side stories, I know. But point made, I'm not the best expert when it comes to medieval history. So if the Queen of Magic Arts is something other than a siren, I wouldn't know. It's just funny when I consider Diana's voice and perhaps the presentation of the siren idea, that I'm like, is that how we would have seen people like Diana in terms of being such strong singers in history? Or would it have been a different view? Because her vocals do carry on quite an entrancing quality to them. And again, whatever extreme or section of a song you look at in evaluation, again, she masters every energy commanded of her brilliantly. You know, and I say it all the time, again, I have such cohesion with you in terms of musical taste, even if you're just walking in terms of open acceptance, right? But doesn't Diana make an impression on you? She did me, you know, with Nightfall, and every listen I gave that, and every subsequent entry we've taken, you know, together, alongside one another, you and I, with many more opportunities to consider, not only with XANDRIA, but again, any adjacent credits I've listed for you earlier. I love the exposure against such strong caliber execution within the vocal work of European metal. And it is something that I have tried to perhaps create harmony on in my personalized circles, and it just doesn't work. I've tried. Specifically of Diana, I'm like, can anybody be open to opera? I was. Again, I know how I was when I was a kid. And I'm sure you're aware of the type of, you know, stereotype that comes with perhaps an opera perception. But then you listen to it interwoven into metal, and if you keep an open mind like me, you might just fall madly in love with it. And with XANDRIA, I just see such a brilliant prowess and execution level. It really impresses me. One of the real highlights, again, on the operatic extreme, I know there are many that I have showcased of similar aptitude, and many I haven't hit on yet that are in the waiting wings, like Diana was for some time. But I love the fact I chose to do a deep dive of XANDRIA, specifically, again, in this era, because her vocal precision truly is just a mastery. I love witnessing her work. And an evolution of a song, again, paired with the choir presence here, that is a dominant agent where perhaps in other numbers on Sacrificium, there's been a variance of that involvement in sessions past. I mean, the choir involvement I like, especially one of such specific regard. And I think thinking of other groups by comparison in the European library that also have similar a similarity in agent to them with a choir presence, notably Sirenia. But here, I think it's a little more dominant, especially on recent entries, but Sirenia has abandoned that in their last two albums, I believe. Certainly the last one. Because Riddles, Runes, Revelations also abandoned it, I think. But some of their earlier entries, at least from Dim Days of Dolor on, have interwoven that. And to hear it so deliberately exercised in variation of styling within XANDRIA's work off of Sacrificium has been quite interesting. This one being one of the more ambitious constructions, I think, especially with the lower pitches. That wind in, I can't mimic it, of course, to what you just witnessed with XANDRIA on voice. You do not want to hear me attempt it, but that subtle, the rise and vocality from everybody going, ooh, like that steady rise back in. I forget at what place it was. It was later on, or maybe midway into a number. But again, such a nice rewind back into the key momentum of this piece that's introduced pretty early on. Again, there's that shift back into earlier mood, right? Where The Undiscovered Land was a pause piece. I called it that in Break, a ballad medley, but it very much is superficially a pause number where this is a revival right back into the original tone, and familiarity of XANDRIA, especially on harsh voice, whether it be on the riff structuring, in the backbone of these numbers as it is, and quite a strong facet. I'd say again, I've credited it before as a power metal appearance. That's what it takes for me, at least on familiarity, though again, there's a variety of exercises in symphonic metal extremes. But superficially, again, that rapid pacing and the ferocity and the heaviness of it does come across to me as more of a power metal play. But symphonic metal has great versatility and precision, and execution levels are quite admirable in the European metal market. XANDRIA, no exception. And Betrayer, did I call it Betrayal in the beginning? I meant Betrayer. Easy to confuse. Anywho, a lot of aptitude with this one. Again, evolution of story. I like how direct it is. It creates a beautiful fantasy vision. Meshes very well on taste. I really like this number in terms of an experience. It does feel adventurous. There are key familiarity strands with XANDRIA's history, of what I know in present day or what I've seen in past, even on Sacrificium. But there are elements to this that feel quite ambitious. While married to the album and ever tracks, again, that narration focus, the development on the vocals, of course, on those chorus sections, the pacing is effective, especially matched, again, with either key choice or vocal timbre. Diana really has such a good feel, doesn't she? I love this journey we're on. Betrayer's a great contribution, another one. Particular focus on familiarity on key with XANDRIA that they've definitely mastered, in my opinion. Some variation too within the song too. Again, adventurism within Betrayer was quite nice. I liked it. Again, ambitious art, I look for that. Music readily offers it in terms of anticipation and in delivery. It's best enjoyed in company though, and to take that ride with you in XANDRIA exploration has been great. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on Betrayer. What do you think of it in terms of conjunction as well in our studies of Sacrificium thus far? And what is your point of approach? Long-time fan or initiate listener? Again, I want everybody to feel welcome here. What do you think? I like it. 6th entry in, they have not let me down at all with the energy of Sacrificium. The vision of this album has been quite impressive. Whatever number we've humored. Next up being Until the End, another dramatic name, but I'm excited to explore it with you. Every entry commands that type of anticipation, and I'm sure that will continue in our studies together for a long while with XANDRIA and Diana as well. I'm looking forward to our future together quite readily. I have been for weeks now, if not months, namely weeks, and to materialize it. Goal fulfilled, and it's been great so far, with more developments I can't wait to get to. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.